I mean, I can't help. I've always dreamt of having a bike park, and then like Bikepark Wales is such a bike park. Like you turn up to it, it's like it's on a mountain. How did you even find your location? Because at that point there were dragons previously running, right?
Yeah, it's probably a question for me, isn't it?
That's definitely a question for
basically
you.
me and Rowan spending weeks, months, years poring over Google Maps as a starting point, trying to work out where's got enough elevation, where's got tree cover, where hasn't, what do we know about these places because we've ridden them. You know, we were considering places like Riola and other locations. What's the weather like? How much snow does it get? What's the wind direction?
So it's completely planned.
Yeah, all that, yeah. And then we literally got in your purple Fiesta, which we had at the time, and went driving around forest roads and scouring hillsides for years. Yeah, literally for years, and like walked so many hills. And
was there another location that was close?
Riola was somewhere that we liked.
Okay.
But the Forestry Commission there, Natural Resources Wales now, didn't want to put a bike park there. The weather's horrendous. The soil type's not particularly good either. But we were really nervous about the soil type at Gethin, where the bike park is, because it's like a collage. It's like, I think Dunk might have mentioned it when you guys were talking to him. You can have like a patch where there's really good material, and then you can move 4 meters and it's just absolute crap. Which is why a lot of the trails have to be surfaced at the bike parks. We have to bring in stone for certain styles of trail, because if you didn't, you just end up with a rut 4 foot deep and within weeks, and the trail would be unrideable.
Yeah.
So that's one of the negatives of our hill, is that you have to surface some stuff, and it's much more expensive to build trails because of that. But the positives are that it's got amazing rock. Like the rock on our hill is so grippy.
Right.
Like when it's wet, it's sandy.
Yeah.
So the rock's super grippy, so it rides amazingly in the wet. Whereas if it was limestone, it would just be horrendous when it rained. And we've got a pretty good gradient. Like it's not super steep, so it allows you to build everything from easier trails through to harder trails, because we have like a steep section which we're going to be exploiting in the next year or so.
Okay.
So yeah,
I think sometimes we wish it had a bit more steepness at times.
Yeah.
For some of the trails that we'd like to build that.
Yeah.
But
At this point, you obviously really went into this in great detail. You're talking about like such weird amounts of knowledge and everything. Obviously, you thought about what you eventually wanted it to be, and for which riders you wanted it. You kind of like projected it would be for. What was the like plan there? Were you literally just trying to make tracks that you want to ride?
bit of both. We needed to make it a viable business. So we knew that if we just built tracks that we want to ride, we'd be talking to a small percentage of the population.
Yeah.
Kind of evolved, didn't it?
It did,
Because it started off as a pure downhill,
Yeah.
you know, container in the bottom type venue. That was the initial thing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was really
yeah.
basic. And
What track was that then? Would you have said the first Bikepark Wales track?
What, that we would have wanted or that we actually built?
No, that you actually had, yeah. Because it's sort of...
Well, we built loads in one go. Like when we opened, we had, I can't remember how many trails we had, 15 or something trails.
Okay. Wow.
But they were all built simultaneously. So it wasn't like we had one ready and then started riding it. We didn't ride any of them until they were all ready, basically, did we?
Yeah.
It was
Wow.
chaos.
I guess if you think about it, like Enter the Dragon and Into Deep Nav would have been the closest you would have got to the original downhill
Dragon.
track.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because that's why I asked, because that's the downhill track, isn't it? So...
Yeah, that follows pretty much the line of, there were 2 dragon tracks at Gethin, but the more recent of the 2 was, Enter the Dragon to Colnot Dole to Deep Navigation, probably.
Right.
That follows pretty much the same line, but it's a very different trail now. Like it didn't really have any jumps before.
Yeah.
Where Enter the Dragon is, it was just basically a flat pedal across the top. And it was a machine-built trail, like Jason Carpenter had built it with a machine. But yeah, it was completely different to how it was.
So what did you like add to that? I'm just really intrigued because again, it's so long ago, and like what trail was already there. Whatever you added will have been your view at the time of what a bike park would be like. Because bike parks didn't exist other than Whistler or whatever. So it's like,
What did we have? The trail.
Well, we had like Sixth Pod. That was like a real flagship.
Wibbly wobbly.
Yeah. Willy Waver, so the one that you guys
rode
when you came down when you opened it. Yeah, those were like originals, and those were Willy Waver is called Willy Waver because another trail builder who exists in the marketplace didn't particularly like the style of trail building that Rowan had at the time, which was very like Burmy and rollery, and had referred to it as willy waving at some point. So that's why it's come from.
Really? That's so.
Yeah.
They often have names. Some of them.
Yeah, some of the names have got good stories. Some of them I can't really talk about. But.
Just to unpack though, before, so you found the location. You're like, okay, this place, this could be it. What's that next conversation to actually secure in the spot? How did that?
We pitched it, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
To Forestry Commission, NRW
Yep.
now, and we said, look, we want to do this. This is the site that we're interested in, and they went, we've done a survey on that. We agree with you that's what's needed.
Okay.
We're like, okay, sweet. And then we waited how many years?
Yeah.
And finally, they came to us and said, well, there's an open tender available for you to bid to do a project at Gethin.
After we'd submitted our business plan to them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And then they asked us to do a competitive tender, which was, it was horrible.
Took 2 years.
Took 2
I
years.
was going to say, who
took
had
years. To
anyone have any experience in creating?
Yeah, Rowan did a bit.
Yeah, Rowan's
A
pretty good
tender
at
is
that.
a business
what does it
plan.
mean?
Yeah, it's basically they put a loose concept out, didn't they? But it was a competitive dialogue before a
That's
tender.
right,
so they
true.
basically asked you to come in for a meeting and you had to present your vision into a board of people from the Forestry Commission, the local council, Welsh Government, and they would ask you questions and you had to try and, because that competitive dialogue was used to shape the tender. So they basically spoke to everyone who said they were interested and they all gave their ideas and they probably took what they felt was the best bit of everyone's discussion and then put a tender together and said, this is the vision for the hill. Who wants to be the person that builds it and runs it? And we felt really hard done by because we were like, well, we're the ones that knocked on the door and said, we've got this idea.
Yeah.
And now you're making it a publicly open tender and anyone can pitch for it. So we felt a little bit put out by that, but that was the process that had to be done. And it was because there was grant funding. If there was no grant funding, I don't know, we might have been able to just had a conversation behind closed doors and agree a lease for the land and go ahead. But that's not how it happened. And we still to this day don't know exactly who else pitched for it, but we know some of the parties who pitched because they're friends of ours. And it wasn't complicated because they're just mates and it was fine, but it was an interesting time. And then Whistler were involved in one of the pitches. Apparently some Saudi money was involved in one of the pitches. And we would just hear like little snippets, wouldn't we? We didn't really know much. And we'd be like, oh, there's this Saudi-backed company they're going to put a chairlift in. And then we're just like, oh, shit, we didn't stand a chance. Like, we're never going to get this.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I feel like at that point it would have been quite easy to maybe just throw the towel in and go, you know what, we can't compete with these people. But you didn't, which is rad.
Yeah.
Innit? It's so
It
cool.
was a funny old time, wasn't it? Because we'd sort of... We're on the fence at that point, become an absolute beast, and we were all quite stressed out about the delivery of it.
Yeah,
it's one thing having an idea, and the actual delivering on the idea is the bit that I think is obviously it's the hardest bit. We found out on Christmas Eve, didn't we, that we'd got it.
I found out from Dunk, actually. Dunk
No
Ferris.
way.
Yeah, he sent me
really?
a text because he was part of a bid on another one.
Right.
And he sent me a text saying, oh, I believe you guys, like, congratulations in order. And I'm like, oh, no, I just had a text from Dunk. What does this mean? And we're like trying to log into our emails to find out. And yeah, there was an email there saying, congratulations, you won.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. So that was Christmas Eve. But I do remember thinking, I'm not sure I actually want to do this.
Yeah, there
Genuinely,
was-
What were you doing at the time?
I,
What were you
that
going to?
time, would have been marketing manager at Hotlines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which, for those listening, if you don't know, is a distributor in the
Yeah,
UK.
a distribution firm which kind of distributed Nuke-Proof, Flappy Air, well, loads of brands, like 50 brands.
Yeah.
And it was a great job and I loved it. And that made it even more difficult. Like, I really loved my job.
Really?
Yeah. And then this came up and I was like, oh man, how am I going to manage this? And you were working at RWE?
Yeah, I worked for the renewable part of RWE in their accounts department,
Right. Okay.
which I also loved, apart from it was in Swindon.
Yeah.
That was a big commute for me.
So how did you balance those first, however long that was then? Like, you carried on working your normal jobs, working on this in the evenings, weekends, etc.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was every 3 minute we'd be working on this.
Yeah.
Hey, man, what an episode that was. You did amazing in it.
And so did you.
You shone like a star.
You shone like a moon.
I shone like a focused spring deal.
Oh,
That's
beautiful
good.
transition.
Right, I've got a question for you, David, to kick this final advert off.
Yeah.
What would you do with up to €400
Yeah.
if you got it back when buying a bike?
Ooh, I could stay in the bike shop and spend my €400 on accessories.
Good point. Support your local bike shop. Great point.
I could take the €400 and go to another shop close by, maybe buy €400 of pasta, maybe go to the Euro
Fuels your
store,
ride.
get €400 and just, that's Christmas done for eternity.
True.
Just keep handing them out every
Lottery
year.
tickets,
Yeah, beans,
tyres,
a
chamois cream,
new pet.
a new pet, perhaps a water dragon or an iguana. Lovely idea. Well, Focus are actually making that question a reality.
Nice.
Because with the Focus Spring deals, you can grab up to €400 back when buying a new bike. If you want to find out more, check out the terms and conditions and all of the details in the link. We're going to put that below, and I'm also going to read it out.
Please.
Okay, you ready for me to read it out?
Yes, I'm.
This is old school, innit? Reading out links.
Yeah, anticipation.
I'm going
is
to do
high.
it anyway.
Please do
I'm
it.
doing it.
I want the deal.
ride.focus.bikes/spring deals TRC.
Ooh, nice. So that is ride.focus.bikes/spring deals TRC. And let us know in the comments what you would do with €400. Best answer wins a signed ODub hat.
Oh, I like it. Good.
All
I've
right.
got hats. Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm good
Okay,
for that.
okay.
Hey, can we also put something up here that you can click on for the next episode?
How about we put a subscribe up there in the middle?
Yeah, I love
We're going to put a video we think that our lovely companionship will love on your face.
On my face.
Yeah.
So
And
they
on
can't
my
see me now.
Gone. And on my face, another video that we think people will love. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please hit like and subscribe. You guys are the best.
Peace and love.